This is an impromptu episode. We didn't plan this. We did this on the cuff because we have hit 100 subscribers, which, as you can imagine, we thank you for. It's for a channel that's literally just 1 month old, about a month and a half, 6 weeks. That's not bad going. So we appreciate everyone who has subscribed. As a little thank you, this is a mini episode. This is going to be a top 10, probably top 10 PS2 game franchises. Anyway, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Please enjoy.
PS2 mini games.
Welcome back to another episode of PS2 Mini Games. This will be a top 10 episode. I don't know if we're going to do any more top 10s in the future. I like doing the odd one, but not constantly, so we'll see how this goes. Anyway, this is a 100 subscribers special, so this is probably going to go in between episodes. This will be a 0.5 episode. We'll decide when that happens when we hit the number. So anyway, this is top 10 PS2 franchises. So what are the rules of this list? Rule number 1. Their first game must have been on the PS2, and it must have been an exclusive. Number 2, there must be at least 3 games released for the franchise. Not necessarily on the PS2, but it must have started on the PS2. Rule number 3, the franchise doesn't necessarily have to be still alive at this point, but it must have been around for some time, and it must have been like notable. In other words, you must have actually heard of this franchise. Lastly, before we start the list, this is just my opinion. Doesn't mean this is 100% fact. This is what I feel to be the best top 10 franchises. I'm happy to discuss / argue with you in the comments, but let's not get offensive in the comments because that will be immediately deleted. Let's get into it. Before we start the list, actually, there are 3 honourable mentions. These are franchises that weren't good enough for the top 10, but actually were franchises that were successful. In no particular order. The Buzz franchise, the quiz games, they actually started on the PS2, and they sold in the millions. I will not deny success. Yes, these days that franchise is dead. Second honorable mention, the Onimusha or Onimusha franchise. There was 4 games on the PS2. This is the franchise set in feudal Japan, so between 1500 and 1600, when all the warlords were fighting each other. And I can't pronounce the name, so forgive me. Nobukata Oda was trying to unite the land. Then I think Hideyoshi Toyotomi then tried to unite the land, but he died. And I think it was finally united by Ieyasu Tokugawa. I can't pronounce words at the moment. I had surgery about 5 days ago on the side of my face, so my speech is not great. I'm trying. Anyway, I played the Samurai Warrior franchise. I know. Nobunaga Oda. Yes, got there. Anyway, that's a good franchise, but it's not top 10. Last honorable mention is the Time Splitter franchise. Now, the first one was a PS2 exclusive, so this can actually make the list. The following second and third one were also Xbox and GameCube. It was a good franchise. It really was. First-person shooting franchise. They should have made more. They really should have, but it wasn't. It just didn't make the list because it died because they kept cancelling games and such. Also, being Gingerbread Man was also fun in the third game. Just saying. It was weird but fun.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
Yes, I know the Muffin Man.
I'm going to get quite a bit of hate for number 10, but I had to put on the list because it made so much money. That's the Guitar Hero franchise. You cannot tell me that Guitar Hero did not make a lot of money for Sony. In fact, to this day, some people still play Guitar Hero games. From the first, the second, the third, and all the sub games, the Rock the 80s one. The Metallica game, which is about 30 quid these days, by the way, and it's getting more expensive. It made a lot of money for Sony, and it was quite enjoyable. Was it as good as Rock Band for the Xbox? Probably not. Probably Rock Band was a better version, but it did start the wave of music gaming genre franchise where you actually have a guitar, drums, and the microphone. It was fun, And that's pretty much the reason it made number 10. Its sales and its enjoyability factor. We play games because we enjoy them.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Number 9, Devil May Cry. Now, some people will be shouting at me this should be higher on the list. You should be glad it made the list. It's a good action franchise. Playing as Dante and basically killing demons, it's genuinely fun. And it's a Capcom game, so it was built to last. Problem with this, I'm trying to judge them on the PS2 games, and all 3 of them were reasonably good. Except number 3. We'll get to number 3 in a second. But obviously, when they did the remake and they changed Dante's character, and he just became so generic and it was so awful, I can't get that bitter taste out my mouth. I can't. I'm sorry. So the original version of Devil May Cry 3 had the Japanese difficulty level. So what is Japanese normal, we would call hard. So I think the games were all set at Japanese normal. So they had to make a special edition and release it in Europe and America, changing the difficulty to normal difficulty, basically making the game easier and more playable. Small mistakes like that can make a big difference to the enjoyability factor of the games. But in all seriousness, it's a good franchise. They ruined it, Capcom, like they ruined most of their franchises. Just like they ruined Capcom versus Marvel. My God. Anyway, we'll get to that in a future episode. The next franchise, number 8. This is probably the least known franchise. It's also by far the weirdest franchise, but it's got quite the cult following these days. Katamari Damacy. Anyone who's played Katamari Damacy or We Love Katamari will tell you it is incredibly weird. It's a puzzler game. Action puzzler, but it's the anime colour and action in the background, which you just can't get distracted by. Also, the Japanese music soundtrack is amazing. And by that I mean very Japanese, young Japanese, I can't describe it. Just listen to one of the OSTs I put up on the PS2, my favourite PS2 songs. The soundtrack is amazing. Unless you like Japanese culture, you may not like this game. But obviously, who doesn't love the character? Who doesn't love the King of the Cosmos? He is literally King of the Cosmos. Enough said. Yeah, this made the list just for novelty. This made the list because it's weird, it's different. Anyway, moving on. Number 7, Shadow Hearts franchise. Obviously, all 3 games were on the PS2, and they were PS2 exclusives. Obviously, the original Shadow Hearts Covenant, and Shadow Hearts, I think it's Into a New World. I'm not entirely sure. It might be Outer World, but I'm trying to remember. Good RPG franchise. Plays well, still holds up. This would have been higher if the third game wasn't... Well, the third game is not as good as the first 2 games. And that's because of Midway. I think I mentioned before in the past, Midway had some financial issues because of their own stupidity. By the time the third one came out, Midway were not around anymore. So the third one was made by a different company. And it wasn't as good. I mean, it was still a decent game, but compared to the first 2 games, it just didn't hold up. By far the best RPG exclusive franchise on the PS2. Obviously, there was amazing PS2 franchises. Obviously, I would have put Wild Hearts on this list, but obviously the first one came out on PS1. Obviously, Final Fantasy is not exclusive. That's been on so many franchises. And there are so many different RPGs, but we're going for exclusive ones. So it has to be Shadow Hearts. A must-play for any RPG fans, especially the first 2. I would highly recommend them. Number 6, Jak and Daxter. This is probably the first of many action-adventure games on this list because the PS2 is well known for this character and that character franchises, hence Jak and Daxter. Also, this franchise was one of the first franchises of the PS2. This came out in 2001, so into the second year of the PS2 franchise. So it didn't hit the ground. It wasn't there at the beginning, but when it did, it hit the ground running. And it is a genuinely good franchise. It does handle quite well. Obviously, it had multiple sequels: Jak and Daxter 2. Jak and Daxter 3. I think size matters or size. I can't remember. That might be Ratchet and Clank. We'll get into it. Anyway, I have played the first 3. I haven't played the 4th one. It still holds up. Is it my cup of tea? Yeah. It's good, but it's only like halfway on this list. I mean, there's better this and this Animal franchises on the PS2. We're going to get to that next, actually, strangely enough. Still gets a pass this day. Rightfully earned a lot of money for PS2. Very good franchise. Recommended. Number 5, Ratchet and Clank. What Jak and Daxter did, Ratchet and Clank just did better. Simply put, better. It's funnier, handled better. Franchise has gone on to do much better than Jak and Daxter, and honestly, they're just better games. Especially, obviously, the first 3. I haven't played Ratchet Gladiator or Secret Agent Clank, but I have played the first 3, and they hold up pretty well. I can't remember. I think they did make more games later on different consoles, like PS4 maybe. I haven't played those because I lost touch with a lot of things. But all I can say is, as a franchise for the PS2, this really did help. This really did help make the PS2 the best gaming console ever made. And honestly, I could just keep repeating the same stuff like I did with Jak and Daxter, but Ratchet and Clank is just a better version. Also, it's just so much fun with me. I still laugh at, especially at Clank. I laugh at Clank to this day. One of my favourite characters on the PS2 by far. That's all I really got to say about it. Moving on. Number 4, Yakuza. Do you want to be part of an organised criminal gang? Check. Do you want to randomly beat people up? Check. Do you want to do random like puzzlers? Well, you're doing it anyway. Yeah, Yakuza and Yakuza 2 on the PS2 started the franchise, and the franchise is still going strong. Obviously, it's not GTA, but obviously it reminds me of GTA in many ways. I think it's better. I think it's aged much better than GTA did on the PS2. Obviously, GTA's not on this list because it's not exclusive. Yakuza was. Obviously, for later games, we got the incredible song Bakayata. Bakayata. But honestly, it's one of those franchises where I can go back to it, I can play it, and I still enjoy the hell out of it. So it made number 4 for me. Some people might put it lower. Some people might put it below Ratchet and Clank. No, for me, I would play this before Ratchet and Clank. It's that fun. Obviously, still going strong today. So Yakuza, awesome franchise. Right, as we get to the top 3, these are by far my 3 best, well, not my favourite franchises, but my favourite exclusive franchises. These 3 franchises I can play countless times. The next one, I originally did have them, then I lost them, and you saw me buy the game literally last week. Number 3, Sly Cooper franchise. Obviously, the first 3, and I think they made more, but this franchise is very good. Did not sell as well as Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter. That's why it's more expensive, but it's held up much, much better. And the animation is also much more smoother. So basically, the premise of this game, you are Sly Cooper, a raccoon. Your 2 best friends, Bentley the tortoise, and Murray, or the Murray, the pink hippopotamus, lived in the same orphanage and basically became best friends. So what do you do when you grow up? Steal everything you can, of course. That's naturally natural forethought on that one. Sly just had to be heir to the Thievers Raccoonus. Had to be part of a family of thieving raccoons. And your job is pretty much to help Sly steal everything he wants. Luckily for us, we're stealing from the bad people every time. Logic. Obviously, with the love interest, the police fox, Carmelita, I think it's Carmelita or Carmeletta, one over. In the first game, obviously you steal. In the second game, you actually joined gameplay with the Murray and oh my god, my brain has died. Bentley. And the third game, I think all you and like former villains to steal, make a like a heist. So actually, there is good general storytelling in this franchise, and it holds up. Did it deserve more games? Yes. Did they get those games? Sadly, not. But I would argue it's better than Ratchet and Clank. I would argue it's better than Yakuza, and still hot up today, man. Sadly, I have lost Sly 2, and I will be getting Sly 2 hopefully in the future. Somehow I kept Sly 3, and I've only recently just got Sly Cooper back, so I will be slowly going back into Sly Cooper again. Now, for anyone with any sense would roughly know the top 2 by now, but in which order? Well, we're going to go for the obvious order because number 2 is a bit... You know what? Number 2 is high because it's still going strong, but it did push his luck. Number 2 is Kingdom Hearts by Square Enix. Are the games good? Yes, they are very good. Is the story good? That's questionable. It's convoluted. It's incredibly convoluted. You know, screw it. We're going to go through each game in not in chronological order, but in release order. I'm going to go through each game and what console / handheld they were released on. And you will tell me at the end of it why I have some issues with Kingdom Hearts. The gameplay's awesome, but the way they treat their customers, or us, was very questionable. Anyway, brace yourself. So obviously Kingdom Hearts 1 on the PS2. Second one was not Kingdom Hearts 2, it was Chain of Memories, and that was released on the Game Boy Advance. So we're 2 games in, 2 different consoles / handhelds. Okay. Third game was Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2. Obviously we're skipping final mixes because they're basically more updated, complete versions of the original 1 and 2, but they were also on the PS2. So we're 3 games in, 2 consoles. Fourth game, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days for the DS. 4 games, 3 different consoles / handhelds. Financially already it's getting a bit of a struggle to keep up with the franchise. Next game, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for the PSP. 5 games, 4 consoles or handhelds you have to buy to keep up with this franchise. At this point they're really pushing their luck. But they thought, screw it, we'll push even harder. Next game, Kingdom Hearts Coded for the DS. 6 games, 5 different consoles / handhelds. At this point, shockingly, a lot of people like I'm done. They just walked out the franchise. Because not only was it getting expensive to keep up, it was also the actual story and plot was so convoluted that it's hard to describe it. I can't describe the story. It's ridiculous. It is good versus evil, but it got so convoluted that a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. But the games weren't done. Next game, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, I think it was called, for the 3DS. 7 games, 6 handheld consoles. At this point, if you had literally bought those 6 consoles, handhelds, and all those games, you are a hardcore Kingdom Hearts fan. And it costs you very close to £1,000 at this point, just to keep up with one franchise. Was it worth it? Hell no! Did I do it? Of course not. I've got common sense. In all seriousness, those who did it and enjoyed it, more power to you, but no. We're not done, by the way. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep 0.2 for the PS4. Technically, kind of a remake, but that is still technically 8 games, 7 consoles at this point. But luckily after this we had Kingdom Hearts 3 for the PS4, obviously on Xbox One. And of course the last one, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory for the PS4. So let's do some counts. So that is 10/9 games, 7 different consoles / handhelds for one franchise. Just to keep up with a story that is so convoluted, so up its own posterior, that I struggle to care anymore. So Adam, what? Yes, my name's Adam, by the way. Congrats, you've a real name. Screw it, my name's Adam. So you're thinking, why is it number 2? Because it started on the PS2. It's a legendary franchise. Well, I say legendary. It's a memorable franchise. The games by themselves do play fantastically well. They're made by Square Enix, so they hold up. It includes Disney characters. Obviously, let's just... Sora, Donald, Goofy. Play Kingdom Hearts 2 and take a drink every time you hear the phrase Sora, Donald, Goofy.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy.
Sora?
Donald! Goofy!
Oh, sorry. Where's Sora, Donald, and Goofy?
Sora, Donald, Goofy.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy.
Sora, Donald, and Goofy.
Sora, Donald, Goofy.
Sora, Donald, Goofy!
Sora.
Sir.
Donald.
And obviously Disney franchises. Toy Story franchise, obviously the latest one. Hercules, Mulan, all the good franchises. And Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, come at me. I don't like that franchise.
Gentlemen, I'll wash my hands of this weirdness.
So it holds up. Anyway, that's number 2. So for anyone who doesn't realise what number 1 is, it should be pretty obvious right now. It's God of War. God of War 1 and God of War 2 released right at the end of PS2, and to this day are still going very, very strong. I mean, the latest God of War released, I think last year, 2022, God of War Ragnarok. Every game sells in the millions. Every game is fantastic. The story is simple to this point, and you can understand it. Tragedy and your revenge, and you're literally killing gods, and the gameplay is fantastic. And obviously the little perks at the end where you become the Calvor, the God of War. This is obviously God of War 1 and such. It did start quick time events for many people though. Is that a good thing? That's debatable. Is it a hard thing? No, it's not. But it's by far the best exclusive franchise of the PS2. So we've just gone through 10 franchises, all very good franchises, all exclusive to PS2, and the majority of those franchises are still going strong to this day. We didn't even talk about the non-exclusive franchises that people associate with the PS2. Obviously GTA, Need for Speed, all amazing franchises. Once again, this is what made the PS2 the best-selling console of all time. And this is why I collect these games. I don't do it. I do it because I enjoy the PS2, and at the same time, it's just like, see if I can do it. It's an achievement, if you will. Anyway, thank you for watching. Once again, this has been a 100 subscriber special. We appreciate you. I have no clue when this is going to come out. Obviously, when we hit 100 subscribers, this could be literally 1 week after recording this. This could be a month after recording this. This has been fun. I'm going to get some criticism for this list, especially for Guitar Hero. Rightly deserved. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good morning, afternoon, have a good evening. See you later, guys.
PS2 mini games.